Welcome again. Brief shipping delays on the Air and Surface Pro. Be aware of that. My name is Troy Sanford. I'm excited to be with you. Here's who we are. We are a global company with a commitment to helping and empowering others, right? We're part of a 96-year-old parent company that has a giant reach. We are truly passionate about people and relationships. For us, business is about relationships. This is a grounded company, 96 years of extraordinary accomplishments behind us. But we are focused on our big dreams and our big future together, improving lives and helping people control their own destinies. Ladies and gentlemen, we are driven to act on our goals with relentless discipline and focus. And we are stewards. We feel that role as caretakers in service to humanity like never before in the previous 96 years. We've got a lot of reason to be excited because the Air and Surface Pro deactivates SARS-CoV-2 virus particles, not a surrogate, not a proxy, in 3 minutes. Aerosol, this is University of Texas Medical Building testing. We also have SARS-CoV-2, not a surrogate or a proxy on surfaces, very effective with ActivePure. Super excited that ActivePure is in a clinical study with the Cleveland Clinic, the #1 or #2 hospital system in the world, no matter how you look at it. ActivePure is actively protecting millions and millions of people right now inside occupied spaces everywhere in 50 different operating rooms inside the Cleveland Clinic right now. And we're talking about 60 to 80,000 surgeries lasting at least an hour. We'll have data hopefully at the end of 2021 or 2022. The completion date is January of 2023. So we're excited about that. We're excited about the Washington Post. Great news there, as well as Joe Urso being on CNBC. Valara is hot, ActivePure is hot, and here is why. Is because of these photo-generated submicroscopic active airborne gas oxidizers that deactivate nearly every type of airborne and surface pathogen tested. We don't eliminate 100%. You see at the top, that's full elimination. That's the most effective in the hierarchy of controls. In the bottom in red, PPE is the least effective. Well, we don't have full elimination, just 3 to 6 log kill in 30 to 60 minutes. Gram positive, the most susceptible microorganism is the vegetative bacteria. That's what you're seeing here, bacteria. And then you get into the MS2, which is a lipid-based, this coronavirus type virus. Deactivating it very, very quickly, as well as the 5X147, which is an isohedral microvirus, very difficult to kill. And these are the most resistant ones, the fungal spore molds and the bacterial spore molds. We knock it out. ActivePure knocks it out. There's no doubt about it. And this is a gas phase driven system, much like occurs outside. Dr. Abbott here, Dr. Wang, we know outdoors is a strongly gas phase oxidant driven system, right? So we're talking about gas phase oxidant driven system. That's not macroscopic. You can't see it. It's not microscopic. It's submicroscopic, very, very tiny. And we know that it works in the air, right? These oxidizers, the hydroxyl radical is one of the 4 oxidizers that ActivePure uses. And what we do is we create inside what nature creates outside. And this is an example that Mike and I will discuss in a moment. The hydroxyl radical outside, it's about 5 million hydroxyl radicals in 1 cubic centimeter, about the size of your pinky nail. 5 million inside there outside. Inside, it's less than 1 million. Generally, it's 700,000, 800,000, 1.2. So we actually form those inside. So you have those hard-working gas phase submicroscopic particles working for you at very quick speeds, right? 250 meters per second, 400 meters per second. We're talking 500 to 900 miles an hour. So they're filling the area and they're actively deactivating pathogens, right? They're knocking them out. These create what you might consider like a little black hole that we can discuss. And it's like a imbalance in the galaxy that's going to be fixed. It just takes a little hydrogen atom to do it. So it's amazing what happens. And I wanted to just discuss briefly before I get to Michael, the bioburden. That's a degree of microbial contamination or microbial load, right? The number of microorganisms generally contaminating an object, right? So we think of bioburden. Think about the microscopic bioburden. And that's really what we deactivate. We knock it down. We make it so it's not viable anymore. The goal of a lot of the other systems are to round them all up and take them somewhere. We just want to deactivate them. We just want to kill them, right? Make them so they don't work anymore. That's what we do, is we knock down that bioburden. And many people have trouble wrapping their mind around it, right? They know, like on the right, the horse walking 5 miles an hour, real predictable, kind of like the old HEPA and those failed systems. ActivePure is that International Space Station that's flying at 17,000 miles an hour, right? There's humans in there. People say, how can a particle go 500 miles an hour in my house? Well, there's humans doing 17,000 miles an hour just over your head, a couple hundred miles, right? We've got to expand our thinking about what's possible. ActivePure makes it possible with proactive protection. Ladies and gentlemen, we have something very, very special. And to bring this to light, I've asked my friend, Mr. Mike Jackson, a tremendous leader, a tremendous person of study, a tremendous person of action, who's acting every day and leading groups of tremendous leaders to really make a difference in their lives and make a difference in the lives of other people. Mike, for over a decade, I've worked with you, and every time it's been pleasurable. Every time it's been wonderful, because you pour your heart out and you give what is inside to people. So thank you for your tremendous contribution, Michael, and welcome to the call.
Hey, thank you, Dr. Troy. Thank you, everybody, for being here tonight. Great crowd tonight. When I met Dr. Troy for the very first time, I knew that he was a gem. And I walked up, I don't know if you remember Dr. Troy, and I said, wow, I've been around this industry a long, long time. I've never heard anybody like you. Guys like Dr. Troy make really, really hard subjects that I don't understand, really, really easy to understand. And so tonight, I thought, wow, we've got an opportunity to interview Dr. Troy a little bit. Number one thing on our mind, sir, is this technology. We have a complete business opportunity here that brings air, water, laundry, nutraceuticals. But the one subject that everybody's talking about right now, sir, and I didn't know you were going to be covering this a bit already, but is this ActivePure? So I have some questions. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, when I talk to Mr. Joe Ursel next Monday, I'm not throwing any softballs. I told him I want to throw some fastballs, and I want you to knock them out of the park. I'm not giving you easy questions. I'm going to talk about things that the field asks me about and wants to know. So you'll want to fill that room up next Monday night in a massive way, because it's going to be powerful. The other thing is, Mr. Coyle asked me just to remind everybody that, we're shipping the Air and Surface Pro Plus full force right now. There's not any even short-term delay on that. It's the Air and Surface Pro that there's a bit of tiny delay. So don't even think about it. Just move on, do your business just like normal. But Dr. Troy, the number one thing that I get hit with and the field get hit with all the time is this whole comparison game. What about this machine? What about that machine? I know you get that too. Everybody wants to know about the comparison. But I would like you to just talk, you've already started on that a little bit. Talk a little bit about what makes, this is not NASA 20-year-old PCO technology. This is not XYZ company's technology. This is a special blend of things that we have created as a corporation, as a scientific company, that make this so much better than anything out there in this whole arena with active technology. Can you just kind of help us understand how we've advanced, why this is so much better than all this other stuff out there, and stuff that's been around for years and years and years?
Michael, it's very hard to do well.
Yeah.
It's, as you know, this takes so much study and playing and working and engineering and resources dedicated to it. You and I both know that the precious metals that our team has experimented with is 10 times the price of gold, and they're doing experiments with it. So the folks, you will see people coming out in the marketplace in the next 6 to 9 months like crazy. What you need to know is that this is very difficult to do. And Vollara, through ActivePure, has a tremendous lead advantage. We have a decade in tens of millions of dollars worth of experience and interaction with the regulatory agencies. We're a company that absolutely plays by the rules, Michael. You know this. We're a company that follows the rules, that is very due diligent, that would like to release science. And Mike, if I can digress just for a moment, there's a lot of people asking for the science. I want to see that University of Texas medical building science. I want to see this SARS-CoV-2 science. We'd love to provide it for you. And the company has a track record of providing that information in a redacted form when it's available for use. And I've got the past science. It's amazing. But honestly, I want each and every one of you to know that science is being used right now with the U.S. government in different places, in different institutions. That science is being used. So we can't have it floating around the internet. It's on people's desks. So that science, we'd love to give it to you. We can't because it's actively being used. When we can make it available for you, you're going to see some redaction because there's some testing stuff that we don't want to give our playbook to other people, but that science is real, and we do have a tremendous history of releasing stuff like the Legionella. Mike, that testing we did, we released it very quickly. We like to release science. It reflects well on us, but that science is being used. Michael, I think what makes ActivePure so different is there's no capture of the pathogen. All these other, all this other stuff, and we can talk about the passive stuff, but among the active things, the no capture, we don't need to capture it. Think about a pathogen, something that's so insidious, it's killed 500,000 Americans. Do you want to gather it up and try to take it someplace? Do you want to try to put it into a box? No, just zap it. Just whack it. You can whack like a drive-by. We can whack these things. We don't have to gather them up. It's an insidious, terrible pathogen that we absolutely want to destroy, that we naturally destroy outside. We know this. It's naturally destroyed outside. We can naturally destroy it inside. We're not trying to gather it up, Mike. We're just destroying it. And ActivePure is the secret sauce in my book because it is what fills the room. It goes from areas of low concentration to areas of high concentration to areas of low concentration, fills the room and protects people and stops that chain of transmission from a primary host to a potential secondary host. And we deactivate it close or proximate to where it's emanating from. So it's a completely different technology. We are a decade ahead of anybody else in our engineering, in our research and our development, able to produce this ozone-free oxidizers that are completely safe. Michael, I am so excited. And I know, Joe, I saw the tremendous interview that you did with Joe from his house in California out there. Amazing, amazing job. But we're so excited about where we are, Michael, in the marketplace and where we're going.
Did you guys catch that? I loved what you just said. We don't give our competitors our playbook. We keep that in the back room. Our key players get that, and we make sure that as you need something, we're going to make sure the questions are answered. But I love that answer. Now, we also, of course, and you're kind of covering this along as we go, but this whole thing, UV lights, you called that a failed technology. Put a UV light up in your HVAC system and then run particles 100 miles an hour through there and see what it does. Put a HEPA filter up. Could you just help this real quick, the difference between active technology? I think what you said is we don't capture and zap. We send something out and kill it. Talk about that Vollara difference. It's so different.
It really is. Ventilation systems, HEPA, MERV, they're designed to filter out airborne pollutants, basically, by capturing them within a medium. And we know even the most robust HVAC system, according to ASHRAE position documents, cannot control the dissemination of infectious aerosols or disease-transmitting droplets, end quote. I'll say that again. According to the ASHRAE position document on infectious aerosols 2020, last year, even the most robust HVAC systems cannot control the dissemination of infectious aerosols or disease transmitting droplets, right? They attempt to manage or control indoor distribution of infectious disease aerosols. This does not work. We know through the University of Minnesota testing commissioned by Mike Pence's office that 90% of the aerosols, of the bioaerosols, were still in the classroom after 50 minutes. And this was sent with ventilation to exchange the air every 2 minutes. So all the air is exchanged out every 2 minutes. And after 50 minutes, 90% of them were there. It's a failed system, Mike. That trap and zap or ventilation, both of them are passive systems. We have a no capture system, right, where we're continuously and persistently in the occupied human space without relocation or gathering attempts. ActivePure molecules are continuously deactivating this bioaerosol load. That's what makes it different. In the composite of oxidizers, you know, oh, I've got H2O2, hydrogen peroxide, right? We have a composite of oxidizers. We have H2O2, we have hydroxyls, we have hydroxyl oxides and superoxides. Those four make a composite, each with multiple reactive pathways to inactivate pathogens mechanically. This is a mechanical deactivation, right? So ActivePure delivers oxygen and hydrogen ions that devastate submicroscopic organisms at gas phase speeds, and no developed immunity or no variant can avoid the composite power of ActivePure molecules in concentration.
This is incredible. I mean, you're saying things and explaining things that I'm learning stuff here as we go in a powerful, powerful way. Now, Dr. Troy, I've had people say to me, can you put this up in the vent? And I say, that's what we want to not do. Why is it important that this is a freestanding unit out there where the contamination is, sir?
It's the particles are not in the vent, Michael. They're in the room. Just like me and you, that's where the humans hang out, is not in the vent. And when I say I am I'm a spreader, I'm a person that is starting it, I'm speaking, right? And I've got Marty and I've got Carrie and I've got Pat in the room with me. It's coming from me. It doesn't have time to work in the vent. That's trying to relocate it somewhere. We don't have time for that. We know this, and all of us intuitively know it. So having it in the room where it spreads, it comes out of the machine at 500 miles an hour in concentration, that's where we want it, Mike. Now, I know you've got a good answer to this question, so let me turn it around on you. Why do we need this in the room instead of in the vent, Michael?
Well, you can't get the particles to jump up off a student's desk or off your countertop, get on a magic carpet, drive down that vent, and then somehow get collected in a HEPA filter that literally has a porous material that these very small viruses go through like water in a spaghetti strainer. So why would I want to try to, I like what you said, I can't relocate all these particles off a desktop or off a floor or off a tray where the kids are eating at school. It doesn't work. Secondly, if I was shooting all these particles down a vent and I got this really neat UV light in there, $1,000 UV light, a feel-good solution, a failed solution, here's the bottom line. If that worked, why do we have the CDC and everybody else saying that indoors we have this big problem with the SARS-CoV virus? The reason we have the problem is those failed old-fashioned technologies don't work. You can't get a particle to go down the vent and then go park next to a UV light for 2-3 seconds and get inactivated. I like what you said, Dr. Troy. The particles are coming out of the HVAC the same way they went in. So why would we do that? The answer is we wouldn't. I have one more question for you, doctor. And that is, you had talked about it earlier, and I loved what you showed. And that is, I always say that when you go in the front door, it's like going out the back door. What we're really doing is we're taking natural outdoor processes and reinvigorating the indoors. You don't have the sun's power, Dr. Troy, indoors. We don't have the ability to create that pulse ionization and take the particles out of the air. Outdoors, it works great. Would you just re-comment on that real quickly? How this is nothing more than creating natural outdoor environments indoors. That's why it works.
It is. And Michael, it's been studied extensively. I don't know if you can see that, but this is the microbiocidal activity of artificially generated hydroxyl radicals. There's so much science on this stuff. So we're not just venturing. This isn't just hokey pokey. It's absolutely real. The science behind it, and the fact that hydrogen peroxide is naturally occurring in the air. And I went through the science before in Raleigh, North Carolina. They tested it in an urban area, in a rural area, in a beautiful mountaintop area. The H2O2 or hydrogen peroxide is much higher because there's nothing to clean, right? So when you go, oh, that fresh, clean air, you're smelling those cleaners like on a mountaintop because they're not having to clean everything, right? So that's what happens. And if you know, this higher power that created this amazing earth and this whole universe created this system, this gas phase system, Michael, that we honor at Vollara. We don't try to make, oh, let's create this weird molecule that only we know about or anything like that. No, we mirror nature. And that simple biomimicry is awesome because I stand in awe of nature all the time. Nature is very important to me. And we do the same thing with our water, by the way. We do the same thing with our nutrition. That's in our DNA, is to be respectful of nature, of this incredible plan. So if I can throw this out at you, Mike, it's a little bit different and I've never really shared it, but I think it might help people understand kind of the way that the ActivePure works. And that's this. When I think of ActivePure and the hydroxyls, hydroxyl radicals, and the oxidizers, I think of it like a little miniature imbalance in the universe, like something that's missing, right? And you talked about the sun. We don't have the power of the sun. We have it in ActivePure, right? The machine that's running here. That photon, the energy from that light actually knocks off like a molecule, right? So it's missing a hydrogen. And it creates something that's missing. So it's this tiny little cell, it's this tiny little imbalance that's missing something, and it's gonna be fixed. I got news for you. Imbalances in the universe don't last long. This one will last under a second, but it's missing something and it's on a mission flying quick to pick up that hydrogen atom, and it's gonna do it. Right? It's going to happen because it is a universe. It's an imbalance in the universe. So it's like a little tiny black hole that's going to absorb something. That's what's coming out of ActivePure. And ladies and gentlemen, that's what's deactivating. We don't have to get, purification to have it all out of the room and gone is not the goal. The goal is to deactivate. I would say kill, but that would insinuate that it was alive at one time. And these little caspids are not alive. They do not breathe. They do not replicate. They do replicate, but they're not typically considered breathing. And I can go over the 5 questions that are involved in that in some time, Mike. But I want people to understand that this is an imbalance that's going to be fixed. And we as humans are well adapted to this. Say, oh, I don't want a bunch of oxidizers. Well, that's what being outside means. It's just we're humans and we have adapted ourselves to outside air. Think about something we're more adapted to. I mean, it's unbelievable. So you have these little black holes that are going to break things and deactivate things. That's what ActivePure is. It doesn't last long. It goes very, very quickly and it moves very fast. But that little imbalance is going to be fixed, Mike. And hopefully it's going to be fixed by taking a hydrogen atom off the caspid of a lipid-based MS2 type coronavirus and deactivate it. Because there's so many different ways. And I'd love to go into the science of how the mechanical deactivation works with different oxidizers. It can get a little crazy, but it's so neat because it's true, it works, we have it, and we're miles ahead of everybody else that are trying to do these things with the, you know, the coronal discharge and the stuff in the HVAC. Vollara is miles ahead, and we are serving people and getting rid and breaking that chain from the primary person that's spreading it to the potential secondary person. We're in that space. We're actively working and deactivating those pathogens, Michael, and it's tremendous.
Ladies and gentlemen, if old-fashioned filter technology worked, there would be no problem indoors. If the strategies that were available for the last 50 years worked, they wouldn't need us. But here's what I see with this company. This is where nature and science join hands. We collaborate with nature, we collaborate with science, and we came up with a solution that is the best solution in the world today. And that's why we're the clear leader. That's why we continue to expand our gap over everybody else. When somebody says to me, well, what happens when other companies start bringing products to the marketplace? I say, we keep getting better. We keep getting our game better. The best technology that we brought to the world hasn't been made yet, but I'll guarantee you, those of you that have joined us in this venture, in this opportunity called Vollara, we're going to be the clear leader. Dr. Troy, great call tonight. We haven't lost a person. We've got 375 rooms because they love what you're hearing. Take us home, Dr. Troy.
And Michael, we haven't even muted everybody. They're all muting themselves. It's fantastic. You guys are an awesome audience. I was just honestly, a little bit nervous tonight because it wasn't going as planned, but I love having a deep leadership team. I can say, hey, Mike, let's just discuss ActivePure. And he's like, I love it. It's a prelim to Joe's interview. So please come back for Joe next Monday night. Pack that call out. We want 700 people on that call. It's a great call. Say, let me bring you in, let you listen to the chairman, our national field leader. They're going to talk about ActivePure live. And I assure you that Joe Urso knows so much more about ActivePure than I've ever dreamed of knowing. So, delay in shipping. We've got very, very high demand, and we have weather issues, honestly, that have started. It's not the demand, but the weather issues. So we anticipate shipping normally next week. The Air and Surface Pro, right? The Pro Plus is currently shipping. Thank you for that clarification, Mike. Bill will always help keep us straight there. So the Pro Plus is shipping. The Air and Surface Pro is not. We anticipate that next week. Wednesday, in 2 days, 8 o'clock Eastern time, we'll send out an invite for the Resist webinar. Dr. Pasco, Dr. Pugh, incredible. This is closeout week for February. We encourage you to have a great closeout week. Put your orders in, the first orders in, get the first orders out. You guys are amazing. Thank you for being such a wonderful audience. Putting up with a little bit of a messy call tonight, but we wanted to bring you good content. And Mike Jackson, you're an amazing guest, and I can't wait till you host the call next week with Joe Urso. Thank you so much, sir.